What's going on, everybody? Walter Brandsma here from New Meta Entertainment, coming at you with episode 3 of the Meta. Giving you guys a little pre-Apex showing, I guess, before the big weekend coming up tomorrow through Sunday for Apex 2015. Joining me in this call is Cody Cameron, who you've seen from episode 1, Patrick Rowe from episode 2, and a new guy here, if you want to introduce yourself, Nick.
I am Nick. I am a South Carolina Captain Falcon main, PM Melee, and ITO in the Columbia area as well on occasion.
Cool beans. Yeah. And I guess we'll just start things off real quick with some PSAs. Just pulling this up real quick. Really short PSA list right now, but Sunday Smash Off happening, what was that, last Sunday now, I believe? Amazing stuff. Absolute success, I think, for that event. Especially being a very local-ish Columbia area sort of deal. Good turnout for Smash 4 and Melee. Good stuff to all the players who participated in that, and amazing turnout again.
Yeah, Smash 4 had a good amount of people, and the thing I noticed about Smash 4, as opposed to Melee more so, is that Smash 4 had a lot of age range.
Definitely, yeah. I played like a 13-year-old in bracket and lost to him. I'm pretty sure.
I think that's accustomed to the new game.
Well, see, every time that I play in a tournament nowadays, I always get paired with a 10-year-old first round. I feel awful. I have to look them in the eye as I rest them, and it's soul shattering.
Yeah. All in all, though, very amazing turnout, I think, for this sort of local grassroots-esque tournament. I was pleased with it. It worked out okay. And I've been speaking to the TO about that, actually. We're in the works of hopefully getting a live stream up for that, which would be through this channel, New Meta Entertainment, as well as hopefully getting this tournament rolling on a monthly basis and perhaps working on something low-key during the week. So really good stuff. Next on the list, we got a reminder for Olympus, February 28th in Clemson. Far and away going to be the biggest tournament in South Carolina, in my opinion.
If you have not seen the trophies and the medals, go on SC Melee, have a look. They look fantastic.
Yeah, it is going to be absolutely huge. And
Red Bull sponsorship.
Yeah, already Red Bull sponsor, confirmed Red and Milkman from Virginia coming to attend that. So 2 players on the MIOM SSBM rank list, which we're actually going to be getting into very shortly. But really exciting stuff. ESAM, I think, was confirmed to come out to this as well. So a lot of heavy hitters, and it's going to be really awesome to see. Lastly, on this list, just touching on Apex 2015 before we really just dive right into it. Final cap counts for Apex 2015 at entrance, 1,040 entrants for Melee. Followed up by 820 for Smash 4, 180 for Smash 64, and 170 for Brawl. So 64 actually squeaking out a little more entrants than Brawl. But you look at the entrance for Melee and Smash 4, you almost hit 2,000 people for this national. And that's insane.
Yeah, it's very, very good showing for both games. It's going to be a good weekend for Smash Bros.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Arrested.
Sheer numbers. The fact that we hit over 800 for Smash 4 too, especially a game that just is so young in its competitive life. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good. And I'm hoping this bodes well for the future because I would love to see the game thrive. Love to see that competitive focus. It's just so much there.
Especially with the Nintendo sponsorship.
Yeah. Really,
Oh yeah.
Very much so. So looking forward to that. I'm still hoping for my Hungry Box ready. So it'll be sweet.
Should be great. All right. That's going to do it for our PSAs right now. We're going to get into probably one of the more detailed discussions. Actually just going to check if I'm not able to load my stream anywhere right now, so I don't actually know if it's functioning. We'll try that.
Yeah,
but
one of my friends says we're good.
We're good? Okay, cool. We'll keep it going then. Whatever for my own computer. But big bulk, I guess, of today's talk is going to be coming from the Melee on Me's 2015 SSBM ranking system. Now, this did come out a couple months ago now, I think. But with Apex on the horizon tomorrow, I think it's going to be good to just, I guess, reevaluate this list see what's up with that, see if there's any discrepancies that we personally have versus maybe in recent tournaments. Some of these numbers might be changing a little bit in our own personal opinions, and then we can really just see how this can compare to what we think the results will be for Apex this upcoming weekend. But I don't think we need to go through all 100 people, but if you guys have any choice players you want to talk about, we can do that now, and then I'll continue to just look through the list as we do that.
So let's start with 100. Yeah, he's Sam. He, like, I think in terms of his performance, this is coming from me because, like, I like watching it, Samus. I think in terms of his capability, he definitely deserves to be on the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
I think he dropped higher even.
I think he dropped down, obviously because of his lack of attendance in Melee, in bigger tournaments or whatever. But then at the last tournament he went to at KIT, he lost to two people who were, he lost to two people outside of the top 100. Eichelman, who's a really good Ganondorf, and Iori, who's a Falcon Peach main. And it's not to take anything away from them, but you would normally see Esam probably outplaying them and beating them. And also at the end of the match with Iori, he got grabbed and he just quit out. Like, I think it's to the point where he doesn't care about Melee.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's stated several times before that it's his least favorite Smash game. From what I understand, he likes the game. It's just he prefers thinking in every single move instead of doing all Melee's tech faces and doing extending and making up his own combos as he goes. He seems to really like just the thought process of Brawl and Smash 4 and to that same extent 64.
Definitely, yeah. I totally agree with that. I mean, I think you look at the silver lining in this, where Esam is at now. He will retire, I think, a happy person where he was in the competitive scene, pretty much on the top for Brawl. Still was in the rankings for top 100 in the world for Melee. So
He's no matter what, he's the best player.
All in all, I mean, fantastic player. It's gonna suck not seeing him at as many events, but I think we can expect to see him at locals and whatnot too. So
hopefully, yeah.
And if we don't, wish him the best of luck.
Yeah.
Definitely. Anybody you guys want to talk about before I guess I just kind of do a quick run through of the whole list very quickly. I think I don't know, in terms of 2014 they did some good in terms of players who would deserve to move up, but I think with players that had to move down it gets a little bit iffy to talk about. I mean, you see players like Amsa, he went from 77 to 22. That's, I mean, I 100% would definitely agree with that. But then you look at certain players like, I don't know, SFAT drops 10 places. That's kind of, again, I don't know the exact reasonings why he didn't really make the best placings in 2014, so I can understand the sentiment. But I know before the stream, Patrick mentioned something about ranking players based on tournament attendance versus actual tournament performance, and I think that's something we should definitely consider when you make a list like this.
I think a list like this is really hard to make in general, and I mean it's also very hard to everything should kind of be taken with a grain of salt, because I mean you have that kind of people are not as going to as many events as other people,
right?
And you can say someone's better, but it's really hard to say, and I mean it's you really shouldn't look at someone, especially if it's I think it's almost like you take 100 through 60 and you pretty much just give them the same rank in a way,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can take it's almost, there's really no difference between 80 and 64 or something like that usually, and I mean
That's what they should kind of do next time. I think they should do more tiers.
That's kind of same idea.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. I think it works out really well.
Definitely. I know with respect to our own scene in South Carolina, we do a lot of work with our ranking system being based on who attends what tournaments. So if you don't attend enough, then you're not on the system, and then if you do, then you can kind of almost force yourself onto that system because you've been at so many things and done decent enough that you've made it on. But that's, I mean, both sides are difficult to really justify, because you look at players like I'm looking at I guess an example here would be Abate. Abate moved up from 58 to 34, and I think that's great. I think he's a fantastic Luigi main, but the only tournament result they have on his ranking is 17th at the Big House 4. No attendance at Apex, no attendance at MLG, no attendance at CEO, no attendance at Evo.
Yeah,
So, I mean, for me, like, how do you justify someone moving up 14, 24 ranks on your quantified system when they have a 17th place at one tournament? And that's specifically for this one person. There are definitely other examples within this list, but to me, I find it very difficult to do something like that.
it's, I mean, it's a huge undertaking to do, just from the
Yeah.
get-go. So,
I mean,
I
and
love
it's always
I love
there to
watching-
kind of like look at. And I mean, like it was there. It almost, unless people take it too seriously, it's almost like a healthy fuel to kind of like fuel rivalry and fuel matches and stuff like that. Because if you like tone it down to like a small scale, if you look at like our South Carolina rankings and stuff like that, you may look at someone who's like not on the list or really low, and if you suddenly get like a really close match to someone who's maybe like 4 or 5 or something like that, it you can put that into perspective, and it almost like hypes the matchup more, and it kind of makes these things more exciting because it kind of gives a value to all these games being played, and you almost have like an additional thing to lose compared to like that single tournament.
Yeah.
that's what rankings are. They're just
Yeah.
they're adding value to your skill,
Mhm.
and like, and a lot of people put a lot of what's the word? A lot of stock in that. Me personally, like, I think they're a good thing. I think they're a really good motivator, especially with a growing scene such as ours. They're really good to actively, shape our. I mean, I know I'm motivated to get better at Melee because I want to kill that top 2 list.
Yeah.
Gotta get tournaments first, but it's a good motivator. And
I think
it's-
I think it's needed to be like, I think what I was trying to hit at is like it's like it's a motivator, but it needs to be like a healthy motivator, and you have to like approach it in the right way. If you approach it like, why the heck was I not on that listing? I'm obviously top 10 in South Carolina, and you get really mad, and you kind of take away. It becomes like more than a rivalry. You have to you have to look at it like
Definitely.
and I have kind of an issue with how PRs were selected in the past, but I think now we're actually moving more towards an actual true skill ranking system.
Yeah.
Using results, and I think that's going to be a lot better.
I would definitely think just having a thank you Hundakis for the follow. I appreciate it, man. I think just having for me personally, I just think a true skill thing over a force your way into a national sort of deal is vastly superior in terms of just a ranking, just because it's you have those sleeper players who you don't know about because they weren't ranked because they didn't go to enough tournaments. And I mean, that's kind of like a cop-out excuse to put like a top 10 or something like that.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, it's like, now that we're moving from an opinion-based to a results-based, how many tournaments you go to are going to count. How you placed in every tournament is going to count.
Right.
I know for Andrew, probably about 4 or 5 TO files.
Yeah.
From a year or 2 years ago. So, it's gonna be nice to see, as much as we've gotten the history from when the state was smaller up until where we're getting, it's the norm to get 100 people in the tournament. It's gonna be good to see where all those results lead up to.
Yeah. I think this kind of encompasses a lot of what we're going to talk about for our power rankings and specific to South Carolina as well. Pressing question actually that came up to mind when I was looking at this. So in terms of the SSBM ranking list currently, at least when it originally came out, they placed Leffen at number 6 and Hungrybox at number 5. And this was a major point of contention when they originally made the list as well. If you speak to a lot of the people on the MIOM team, it was kind of a toss-up as to who deserved that number 5 spot. I think with with Leffen taking Beast and Hungrybox taking Paragon, that really kind of makes this discussion even more difficult. So I wanted to know what you guys think. Who do you think is deserving of that number 5 spot if it was going to be either Leffen or Hungrybox?
I think Hungrybox personally. Leffen is a fantastic player, and I actually really like the way that his attitude has changed. You know, all things considered, the way that his attitude has changed has been, and his performance as of late has been nothing short of phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a really inconsistent player. You know, he can be beating Mango one weekend and getting bodied by the next.
Right.
And yeah, Hungrybox, especially ever since Evo, taking a second at Evo, he's been just on a roll. You know, really solidifying his place, and he's been consistent with it. Hey,
Outside of the big house where he
yeah,
got demolished.
is that
I don't.
before or after
Big house was after Evo.
after Evo? Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, aside from that one thing, he's been consistent for the most part.
I think
Right.
that when they made this, I think at the time, I think it was more appropriate to put Hungrybox there. But after Beast and I forget which other tournament Leffen did really. I guess the big house, or I don't really know. All I know is that like at the time this article was made, I think it was appropriate, but now it's definitely in question. I think it could be argued they're around the same spot. And again, it does come to play that we should make tiers, not numbers, because I mean, it's hard to put all these people in numbers because a lot of these players who are in the top 100 never play each other. Like I'm Dark Rain and Kage who are right next to each other. I'm almost 100% sure they never played each other in tournament.
Yeah, and exactly. And on top of that, like, in the past year, year and a half, the gap between the five gods and everybody else is getting smaller,
Yeah.
smaller, and smaller, where there's almost not even any way to distinguish that line.
Right.
Because you've got Leffen taking sets off Armada in a consistent manner. You've got him beating Mango, and you've got Axe beating Mewtwo King.
Right, yeah, and that was my next major point
Yeah,
of contention also is Axe really deserving of that number 7 spot still, or is he going to get lumped in with that 5, 6, 7 after that? Or even so, he's 3-0ing Mewtwo King, so where does that really make anyone stand at this point?
I think it'd be kind of cool. Like, I'm sure it'd be really hard to do, but if you could almost have like constantly like changing an updated dynamic like top 100 list,
Right.
That like after every event someone went in and they didn't get the whole group together to sit down and be like, all right, let's redo the top 100 after every event.
Right.
But, you could kind of add that in, you could kind of track it, and you could kind of be like, well, based on that last performance, maybe this person can kind of move around, and that way it's kind of always changing. And this was made in a 214, and they're not going to make another one till later. So I mean, it might be a year now, and we might just be like, why is that person even in the top 10? Why isn't that person in the top 10? Something like that. So I don't know how that would work, but like,
Yeah, I mean what you're suggesting I think would come down to almost like a point system, and you do it as almost like
yeah,
everyone, it's like a circuit, but it's a continuous circuit for the whole year.
Just start with maybe like APEC, and get all the regional, national brackets you can, and lump them together.
and I feel like as the scene itself grows, that becomes like a more viable option, if that makes sense. Like,
Right, yeah. I think that'll definitely be good. I mean, for me personally, I've already said how I really feel about ranking systems in general, and what I've suggested has major flaws to it. So it would definitely need a lot more ironing out. I know a member of our community actually stumbled upon a new ranking system that bases everything strictly off tournament results, which could also be a good way to do it, maybe a bit more accurately than just looking at tournament results and saying this guy is better than this guy and having a more analytical method towards it. So, yeah.
I like that idea a little bit better personally.
So I think, when it comes down to it, like, you look at... Oh, new follower, I69 and Frank. Me too, girl. Thank you for the follow, though. I appreciate it. I think when push comes to shove, honestly, you look at, in specifics, slots 6 through 10, or 5 through 10 on this top 100 list now, and it's honestly difficult to determine whether or not these people are deserving of their spots or if it's a more fluid mechanism there, and you have to figure out who's really going to go where. Thank you, Big MS1, for the follow. I appreciate it. But I think with that, I mean, we're pretty good on this discussion. There's not really other... Oh my gosh, the follower train is on point right now. Spaghetti... Spaghetti? I appreciate it. Thank you. Everyone add James S1. He's famous. That awkward unicorn 22. Thank you for the follow. Oh my gosh. You guys are crazy. I don't know if you guys have any more points of contention, I guess, for this. Holy shit. Stop. I'm not even reading that following name. You're an asshole. I'm not really too sure what else we can go with.
So many people in this chat.
Ah! Shoe on head, thank you for the follow. I don't know. I'm just looking at... I can't even talk right now.
I was gonna...
A lot of
I can't
people
fucking
have
do it.
joined.
I can't fucking do it.
I was gonna make it just like one more comment on the top 10.
Go for it.
I think that... I don't know. Like, the whole God theory is kind of... Because the thing, how I see it, is a God is somebody who cannot have a set taken off of them. Like, period.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry if I'm like smiling while you're saying this. I'm just getting overwhelmed
no,
by
it's fine.
the regular show noise clips that keep coming in. but keep talking and I'll try to like follow up with you.
Yeah, I think like a God is somebody who cannot be beaten, and we've seen every single one of them be beaten by somebody who's not a God. Because if another God beats one of the like another one of them, then I don't think that matters. I think they could both be solidified as gods, but
Right.
you know, we've seen like I'm pretty sure, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Westfalls took a set off Mango at MLG, correct?
Yeah,
They did.
Westfall's body with that set.
And then Flup beat Leffen, and then Cobalt beat Hungrybox. Axe beat Hungrybox. Axe beat Mewtwo, and I guess Armada's the only person who hasn't been beat by one of the top 6.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. So, but I think the whole idea of a God theory is starting to fall apart because they're just not able to hold on to those roles or those games as well as they used to be, and not because I don't think they're getting worse. In fact, I think they're getting better. But everyone else, like, I think it's a matter of I care more because somebody like Cobalt, I'm sure a couple years ago, probably still really good, but
Right.
he just didn't care as much. But now he's like, wow, Smash is huge. We need to get on we need to get on top of this. So I think now that people are really putting time and effort into it, I think that's gonna start rebalancing where everyone is, especially with Axe, like taking M2K all the way to grand finals, set 2, 3-0ing him.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, and I'm personally excited to see Axe, even though he's not on my draft pick. I'm excited to see what he can do.
So excited.
Mhm.
Like about your comments, about the God theory. I think it's more. I think at this point, the gods is more of a representation of an era of Melee instead of actually the gods of the game. So,
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Ken's always be the king of Smash. Sure, he's not nowhere near as good as a lot of players are these days, but he's still the king of Smash.
Yeah.
That is representation of the year. And I think those five top players, they represented that era from like 2010, 2013 or so, maybe. And they just represent that era. So no matter what, they're always going to be the gods of Melee, even if they're not the best of the game.
Yeah, definitely. I think a really good resource to keep in mind is Tafo actually posts a lot of analytical outlooks on competitive Smash. And in terms of the God argument that you made, Patrick, I think he did actually compile a list of like records of gods versus other gods and etc. Like who has a win-loss record versus who does the best where. And that's like really, really important to look at. I mean, not necessarily specifically for the gods, but I think if you just had an analytical outlook on this person beats this person consistently, therefore like that's a purely determined way to figure out who should be ranked above someone else in a system such as this. Oh
Yeah.
Man, this follow train is literally blowing my eardrums out. But I think we hit a good point with that. With that, we're gonna stop on the 100 list for now. Perhaps we'll come back to it, but I think we'll move on to, I guess, zoning in more specifically on our region here. And what we really based this podcast off of was talking about our region in South Carolina and seeing what we can do here to really better the region for everyone else and put us on the map and get everything going. Thank you, Lolly, please, for the follow. Holy shit. But yeah, we're going to just go into more specific stuff towards our PR, power ranking, anything with that. And I guess I'm gonna pose the same question that I did for the SSBM rank from MIOM, but for our specific PR, and I can link this to the YouTube description once I end up uploading this to the YouTube. But are ours top 10 specifically set in stone either? Because I know with Melee and On Me's ranking system, we talked about 5 through 10. I mean, it's a contention for who's going to get those spots and everything like that. And there's a chance for someone to really come out of the blue and take one of those gods out because it's been done before in sets, but doing it on a consistent manner. So I guess with our own region, are our top 10 really set in stone? Because the biggest thing to consider is EX Star, or not EX Starlord, but just Starlord now, actually ended up moving to Virginia. And that opens up the #1 spot in both Melee and Project M respectively. So what would this mean for our South Carolina community with him gone?
I also want to make the point or ask the question: when was the last time our power rankings were updated? I don't remember how old our list is. Does anyone
It
know?
was this past summer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's been well over
It says
Well,
October
half a year.
19th.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was October. Yeah, it was October of last year. So it's been quite some time since they've been updated. You could say that the top, I guess, 5 of those people could definitely be argued, but
Okay, my only thing is, and I'm not trying to like make shots here, but, and like just to make this before I say this, Matt Glacier is AD multivitamin, right?
yeah.
And he's watching.
Okay.
Nick Widener, wreck me, new follower. Thank you for the
At,
follow.
at this past Sunday, that was the first time I ever played Matt, and I beat him in tournament. And the thing is, I don't want to say like I'm better than him because 2 things I think came into factor. 1, he's never played against me,
Right.
and 2, he said to me after the set was over, I don't know the matchup, which is understandable. I mean, how many we just run into on your daily basis? But like, I don't know. Everything kind of comes into question because I don't want to be like, yeah, I'm better than him, and I don't think one set in one tournament defines who's better than who. But how can like it just for the top 5? I think Matt. Well, I guess he's not here anymore. I was gonna say Starlord, LeFou, Pikmin, and Spin Jump could definitely be there. I've never played Spin Jump. I played Pikmin. I mean, he's good. We all know it. He has a bunch of characters, so he can't decide upon. And Butch will not leave his Falco, so he's gonna stay for a long time. Until somebody can get good enough to knock him down. As for Matt leaving, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say we needed him, but he was important in making this community better because he pushed us, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was definitely like he helped a lot with tournaments, especially when I was doing tournaments. He helped a lot with me put those on, even if he just wanted the money for himself. But no, yeah, he definitely helped a lot with tournaments. And he helped host, and he would definitely push people to host a bunch of different things. And he really pushed the community, I'd say, over the last like year and a half that he was definitely helping around, and Melee was reviving in the scene, and the scene was growing.
Right. Yeah. I think in terms of just like the PR for South Carolina, you guys already have like my off-camera opinion on it. For a more professional outlook, I think I like what they're trying to do with like bringing in people in those like 5 through 10 spots, I guess, and then really making it a point of contention to get onto that list. But at the same time, I mean, honestly, I don't really know how accurate it is because it's going off of a panel of 4 players, I think 3 of which are on the PR. So that becomes
Yeah.
It becomes a little biased, I think, in my own opinion. And then there's the whole thing where, oh, we count people from out of state, we don't count people from out of state. Let's just put ESAM as number 0. And that's a very interesting concept to me, I think. But
I think that's Matt just not wanting to give him number 1, giving him the fake number 0.
Matt
Yeah.
Say that he did not want to give ECM number 1.
Well, because I mean, like, I don't think we're the weakest region in the states, but like I think ESAM's on just like a whole nother level, you know.
I think even
Yeah.
Matt was, if you're reading the chat. I mean, like, I do think like our region is very particularly weak. It was. And
well,
now it's even
yeah,
more
I
so
mean,
with,
again, my
Matt
off-camera opinion says otherwise, but
Yeah.
it's it's hard. I mean,
We're stuck between 2 really good states.
yeah, and
Yeah.
this
Carolina,
region in particular was never really known.
Georgia, Florida.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And South Carolina was never like, wow, like there's really like some standout players in that state to really put us on the map to begin with. So it's hard to really have, I guess, a ranking system in a state that's not really considered very strong by other people. So it's like, okay, it's like, look, I'm from New York. Like people would look at this ranking system in New York and be like, what?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. And it's no insult to our players because I think the top 10 that we have they're all good players in their own regard.
I think that could be like just off ranch real quick, just a quick note. I think that could be a really interesting like theory crafting question. Why are some regions better than others? You know?
Yeah. And,
So,
that,
but
and
that's for
that's
future
something we can talk in a future episode again, yeah. But yeah, I mean, in terms of just like who is in the top 10, I think it was a toss up between LeFou and Starlord for that number 1 spot, at least with respect to Melee. Now that Starlord is gone, I don't really think he'll be considered for the PR anymore. I could be totally wrong because I don't really know how it
He'll
works.
probably make it again.
If he's on the panel, he'll be on it. But if not, I think LeFou has secured that spot, in my mind, at least. Pikmin in the chat, actually, currently very strong player. I think he is well deserving of the spots he currently has. But he'll easily move up, in my opinion.
As long as he stops playing Ice Climbers, he's good. So.
But really good stuff from them. I'm just looking at the list right now. Melee after Pikmin is Spin Jump. I think he's in a pretty good spot also. ADV, good spot. Alfie is a really strong player. I haven't seen him come out to too much or heard of him really at all in a while.
I've never heard of him.
I mean, I know him. I haven't heard from him in a while, so it's been that's a little, I don't know about that for next PR. Tricks I've never heard of. I don't mean any disrespect by that. I've just never heard of the tag before. Blama, I know he's a solid PM player, so I could see his placing in Melee being good. I guess an argument I'd like to make, and this goes into the whole like tournament attendance versus just player skill, I guess, but that's hard to quantify, just someone's player skill off of what they're doing. But Gapes at number 9, I just wholeheartedly disagree with.
Really?
I think Gapes deserves to be maybe somewhere in the vicinity of 5 to 6 if he's going to be on Melee.
Oh, I thought you were saying like he shouldn't be on there.
Oh no, I think he just is way too low for where he's at.
I could see that. Yeah.
Gapes is just not high enough for me. And I mean that's personal experience from me. Like this is a player that I've gone even with in bracket. Again, I'm not represented on this list for either I'm from New York or I don't attend enough tournaments. I don't know which one that is, but whatever it is, I mean, he's a solid player. And then at the number 10 slot for Melee, we have Prime. Again, no disrespect, I have just not heard the tag in a tournament, at least a tournament I've been in attendance at.
Okay, so I've got SD like South Carolina 4 up here.
Mm-hmm.
These for Melee singles, Gapes 17 out of 37. Blama 17 out of 37.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Pikmin 9 out of the 37. You've got me tied with 9, Spin Jump tied with 9. My foes.
Right, yeah.
So just like I don't have access to the SC5 melee brackets, or at least the top ones, because that is a little bit of a train wreck. And while I was dealing with Project M, like people were over with their own accounts figuring it out. I think Matt was figuring out everything with Melee's top 16. So I would definitely say this probably needs a little bit of reevaluating.
Yeah.
Because where these people are on our power rankings versus what I'm looking at right here. That there's a little bit of a discrepancy there.
Well, I mean, it's outdated too, and that's the biggest problem I think of all. The list is purely outdated. I think it just needs, instead of the panel sitting down next time and saying this is who I think should be top 10, my own personal opinion should be, if this panel is to be the same group of people, which I'm assuming it's going to be, I think they need to sit down and say, this is how we're going to quantify results and figure out who our top 10 is from here on forward, because they haven't really had a consistent manner of determining the top 10.
I feel like it's more opinion based.
Yeah, and that's kind of unfair a little bit to some people. You don't really get the specific placing you want, or you don't even get the limelight at all, I think, in that sort of scenario. I guess I'll quickly go through the Smash PM ranking for our state in specific. Again, ESAM at the 0 slot. I don't really agree with that. Not that I don't think he's the best player in the state, because he's currently the best player in our state, I think, but I don't really understand this whole 0 premise thing. But Star-Lord at number 1, again, that's a point of contention because he is no longer a resident of this state. Spin Jump at number 2. I can agree with that, I think, to an extent. LeFou at number 3 seems good. Pikmin at number 4 seems good.
I'm sorry, seeing him at number 4 just makes me laugh.
What's it?
He's not bad, he just hates the game so much, so...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's to be expected from someone like him. ADV, very solid player. I think he deserves at least the spot he has, if not maybe a spot or two higher. Android at number 6, I think, is going to be an interesting discussion for the next time we make a ranking system. Android is the Lucas main, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, so he got absolutely shit on, as in his character did, and that's going to be hard.
It's really unfortunate.
So I don't know if he's sticking with Lucas. I guess Cody, you'd probably have a better outlook on that than me. But if he sticks with Lucas, I think it's going to be a hard-fought battle for him to keep that spot.
I've played with him, and he's still really solid with him. We'll see how everything goes, because 3.5 fans will be in the game.
Right. And then I guess we'll wrap up the 7 through 10. Norris, a tag I'm not very familiar with. If someone else knows,
he's a player from this area. He plays Yoshi.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's solid.
Blama, again, someone I mentioned as a very solid PM player. QMac, I don't really know much about him either.
Name.
Yeah, it stands for Queasy Mac. I'm really sure. I haven't had as much interaction with him. I think I've played him, I've beat him, and I've checked him in at Smash Hero.
And then Like an Egg is Eric Hawk, I believe. Pretty solid Game & Watch, maybe? I just know that Eric Hawk's Game & Watch beat Kevin in PM, and it's funny. That's all I know. So, I guess I'm just gonna leave it at that. And if you guys want to add any more comments, feel free. But
Mac Glacier said QMac is a Charleston Kirby.
Charleston Kirby. Okay, I actually have never seen him play, so that's a interesting rank for me. I guess for Project M, I mean, first I'd just kick Pikmin off entirely because I mean he sucks. But
I think it also, like, and this is another thing, is that if you don't really associate with the game, I don't think you should really be on there. Because, like, we know that Pikmin's probably better than most people in the state who play the game, but he doesn't care about the game. So I feel like
That's
he
like
shouldn't be on there.
that's difficult to do though, honestly. If you
Bobby?
say like, oh, like he's like so fucking good, but he doesn't care, like, so he's not ranked in our state because he doesn't like it. Like,
I mean-
by that logic, I should be ranked.
Yeah,
By
there's
far, I should be top 5 at least.
there's a lot of discrepancies, and I mean, again, that comes from making an almost pseudo opinion based bracket, or I think, and at
It's
least
just like,
that's
I
the
would-
impression a lot of people get, is that this whole ranking system in our state in particular was almost purely opinion based.
I think another thing. Well, yeah, that definitely. I think that played into that. But I think I would rather see people who are really passionate about a game than somebody who plays it like. And I'm not saying that Pikmin does this, but plays it for like money or plays it because everybody else plays it or whatever. I'd rather see like how good the passionate players are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a jerk, so whatever.
Yeah, actually, Cloudful makes a good point in the chat. He says, Andre Agassi hates tennis with a passion, was the best player in the world at one point. So, I mean, it's, he said
Andre Agassi.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know
Oh
tennis.
yeah. Okay. All right.
But, I mean, like, it's I mean, Cloudful, of course, coming in with the tennis parallels again, because he's done that countless times before. But it's a very good parallel in the sense that you have a player who probably definitely doesn't enjoy what they're doing, and we're going deep into this discussion about Pikmin, which I'm sure he's eating this shit up, but
I mean,
it's,
he's saying like he does it for the money,
yeah,
and like if he
Yeah.
can do it for the money and he can beat other people, then like
yeah, it's like
that's
why
no
why
reason,
wouldn't
like,
you do
yeah.
it?
No, here I'll tell you this. I'll tell you. I told this to Pikmin at Extinction 3. He was complaining about Project M and everything. So I walked up to him and said, "Hey, Pikmin, you know how I know that I don't like Brawl? I don't play it."
Yeah.
So it's one of those. But, I mean, if he's playing the game and if he's placing well, then
Yeah,
sure. I mean, I don't see the problem with it. If he is actively playing the game, whether he likes the game or not,
yeah.
that's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah,
He
and
plays
that's-
the game and he plays as well, but he plays the game and plays as well.
That's almost an entirely different discussion in itself, I think. But I mean, I know I personally can say, for instance, I guess Smash Carolina 5. I complained about Project M with Pikmin while we teamed throughout the bracket. All we did was bitch and moan about how we hated this game. It was a shitty game, but we were still like moving through bracket, doing all that stuff. And I think because of the fact that, like, I guess this is my own personal opinion, but for the fact that I continue to play the game, I have some kind of inherent enjoyment with playing the game. So I play it. Yeah, I play it because I like it. Although I disagree with some of the mechanics, it's similar to my opinion to Smash 4, I think. But that, again, that's for another time. I think with that though, we will wrap up our power rankings discussion for South Carolina. Something we can definitely come back to by the time it becomes updated, hopefully within this year. But moving on is another big portion of our discussion is the Apex 2015 analysis. I will be linking the pools to everyone on YouTube as it gets uploaded. But I just wanted to go over the pools real quick. If you guys can pull up the pools with us, that'd be really cool because we can just kind of discuss stuff together through the chat, whatever it is. But just feel free to look along with us. But I wanted to just say, I know we did, Patrick, myself, and then a few other people went through the Apex 2015 fantasy draft. And we had some pretty good picks, and we actually ended up investigating the pools, I guess, maybe pick 3 or 4 into the bracket because someone decided that'd be a fantastic idea, which it was. But so we experimented with some of the pools, figured out who, I guess, the standout players in each pool were, specific to the players we were drafting for our team. So we have a bit of a background on it, but I just want to see if look at the pool, see if there's any standout I guess players in each of those pools that we want to talk about, and then just our predictions for who's going to come out for the most part.
I'm getting 404 from the pools and schedule.
I linked it on Skype as well.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll check that then.
I know I'm looking at it right now. Some big ones that I was seeing. I mean, you have like your easy seed ones. I'm excited for Kells versus a rookie if that happens because yeah. I think that's going to be a really fun match, and I have to be pulling for a rookie on that one. Some other ones, I mean, Alex 19 placed second seed in Pool C7. Swift in front of him. I feel like that's gonna be a tough match for Swift if it comes down to seed 1 versus seed 2, and that.
I was thinking about that, and like Alex 19 doesn't go to a lot of events, but he's played with Lucky Mango his whole life. I mean, it has to rub off somewhere.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of Swift, Swift is still Marth Fox if I recall correctly, and players who play that aggressively, like Lucky, like Mango, seem to do a really good job against Marths and even in the Dittos. So I mean, I could potentially see Alex 19 coming out on top of that.
Well, he's in my draft, so I'm rooting for him. So.
Who else do we got here? Taupe versus Esam is a potential 1 and 2 match.
Esam,
He's
if not going.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's dropping out.
Didn't somebody on them have him in their draft?
I don't know, actually. That would actually be really shitty.
Wait, I think somebody took him as our last 2 picks, the joke picks.
Right, yeah. I could see that.
Not
a joke pick,
but
but a not counted pick. I guess looking at the pool, F8 right after that, you can get Frogman. Fuzziness versus PC Chris. I am kind of excited for this. Fuzzy plays Fox now, doesn't he? I think. I don't think he plays Falcon now. No. But I'm just excited to see PC Chris again, honestly. I think that'll be
he's excited to come back.
That'll be a fun match. I don't know. There's a lot of like interesting pools the way things are turning out right now where I think in a majority of them it's just going to be easy seed 1 gets out and then seed 2 is up for grabs, which is how it should go normally in a national or something of that level. But then there's some that are hard. B7 Professor Pro versus Flo. That could be pretty good. Android Animal. I mean, Animal was taking sets off top players. And that's, I don't know, it's nothing to scoff at. Wobbles Curb, however, could be the match of the century if that Game & Watch decides to bring it back.
Are they in the same pool?
They are, A2.
Oh my god, that has to be on stream, otherwise it's sad.
And I know Diz Kid Boogie actually was showing up as a pretty strong player as well, and against a player like Zanguzen, I think that's going to be a good match as well. Fuck, all I see from Fuzzy is a bunch of bitching from Cloudful. But I think the real champ that we need to look out for in this tournament is XXXX, all caps, Poop Muncher 69.
Please stop.
XXXX, open parentheses, walnut, close parentheses.
We don't need this in this.
My last pick on the draft.
Oh my god.
Look out for him. Pool C8.
I just want to see low tiers, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like last year we had definitely like the big kind of like, did you see that matches was definitely Amza, kind of coming out of, I don't want to say nowhere, but I also want to say nowhere.
Yeah, it was him coming out of the rough almost, where it's just like he won pool match against Chudat,
and then
he beat Mewtwo King in a later set. Like,
yeah, it was those kind of moments are like what makes Apex exciting, and hopefully like that same kind of thing can happen again, because if this, I don't know, you're saying like those low tier champs or something along those lines where you have just a hype upset and then people start watching and then it flows and they do really good and it can get really hype and it can get really exciting. So
yeah, I guess just looking at those pools, really glancing over them very quickly, just like discussing on, I guess, who we think, not all 48 obviously, but just who we think is going to easily make top 48. And then really moving onwards from top 48, what is it going to take to get to top 8 or top 16, and then after that top 8, and then what is grand finals after that? What is it going to take to keep going on and lessening those numbers as the tournament moves forward?
I mean, this year is going to be this is like the most dangerous tournament of all time. It's so like sensitive, because if you're a good player, you're like, oh, I'll make it out of pools, I'll be in bracket.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Now it's not the case. Like, You could be one of the best players in your region and not make it out.
Yeah, that's the most concerning thing to me, I think. And even when it's like you go to a tournament that has pool seating, like in South Carolina, for instance, you say like, oh, there's pools, and you're just like, oh shit, like I don't even know who I'm playing against in this one. But yeah, that's a big concern to consider, because you can have those sleeper players come out, or even those second, third seeds in the pool have the tournament of their life on that day, and it all comes down to how well you're going to be playing on that day.
Yeah. They gotta be eating right. They gotta be thinking right. I mean, they have to have it going for them, because, I mean,
I think
I don't know,
people are playing different tournaments too, in a way, because like if you're like a small, if you're from a smaller region, or if you're not like number one in your region, not like you're not, like, if realistically speaking, like, you're probably not going to win Apex, but like a lot of people have this goal, like, if I win my pool, or I make it out of my pool, that would be like winning the biggest tournament of the year.
Right? Yeah. Like,
of course,
you've made it this far that it's such an accomplishment already.
It almost makes every pool like a mini tournament that can get hype, and that it can get really exciting, because
and
it means so much.
It has. I mean, again, I'm gonna reference AMSA because of you. It's like you look at the AMSA Chew match. That was in pools.
Yeah. I'm saying so.
And that was I think one of the most hype matches of that entire tournament. At least I know I was sitting there just fangirling the whole time. But
Green Ranger and AMSA.
Oh yeah,
that was my favorite.
I remember you. I think Walter, you texted Facebook me. I don't know exactly what happened, but I just like, did you see that? That kind of thing. Like, were you watching that? And,
yeah. And that to me is really awesome about a tournament of a grand scale such as this. Because you have players like AMSA who is known to be really good, but then someone who's just going to come out and sweep games from people you never expected, and that's really cool to me. I think another really important aspect for this tournament to consider, and I don't know how the tournament is being organized, but I know with a few other like larger scale tournaments, oftentimes they would have different events running at the same times, or at least overlapping times.
Here, I have a schedule. Hold
on.
It's up on the site. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like Wii U and Melee have a direct overlap.
I think
which
they have multiple streams though, right? They're not.
They are. Yeah, they should be. I'm guessing like Team Spooky and then VGBC. But
this is kind of useless probably. But you can see kind of like what stream is going to show who, and like what event it is.
Right.
Like
yeah. And to me, I guess the question is for like a road to top 8 sort of deal. If a player is intending on at least making it out of pools, getting to that top 48. I think it's a huge transition if you are playing your pool match in Melee and then it's say you get called for Wii U. Even like, because I can say for myself, it's extremely jarring to go from one game to another and then just try to, and not have a sufficient hand warmer and not have enough friendlies under your belt before you start that game. But it can be really mentally challenging, I guess, for you.
And sometimes it can be like a really important decision to be like, I want to enter both of these games because I think I can do, fairly well in both of them. But if like I feel like this is my year and like, I could make top 16 in Melee or something like that, it's like, do you want to risk playing both those games and maybe like that small thing throwing off your Melee game where you're really trying to put everything you got into it?
Right.
So,
Right, and I know I can say off of experience when I transitioned from Melee to say Smash 4, I try to jump cancel all my grabs, I try to wave dash, I try to do all this stuff, and then it just becomes awkward. And then after playing Smash 4 for an extended period of time and going back to say Melee or Project M, it's like I just totally forgot all of my tech skill. Like I just go in and I'm like, all right, let me like play with this controller.
Smash 4. I can't do it. Like I'm not one of those people who I'm not an M2K. I can't bounce back because. Especially like when I go to play Smash 4, I don't air dodge because I'm like, oh, I'll die.
Yeah.
So
it's just what I'm doing nowadays. I'll play some Smash 4, and I'll go play some Melee. I'll play some Smash 4, and then I'll go play some Melee. My brain is finally separating those two.
Yeah.
By a long shot. So
I think for some people maybe it's a bit of like mental conditioning to go from game to game, but
you still have to put in the time to like. Not just get better at the game, but get better at transitioning between the games.
Yeah. totally. So I think it's going to take a lot of, I guess, like almost mental fortitude, especially if you're a player who's going to be entering both pools, to really get to that top 48 and onward, because switching between the games can be tough, and we've made that abundantly clear by now. In terms of a top 48 projection, I love it. Top 48 projection, I mean, you already can expect the top 10 from Melee Dami's list being there, I think.
Unless there's a huge hype upset or something.
Yeah. Other big player announcements. ESAM will not be in attendance, as we just found out. So that changes things a little bit. I could see him making top 48. Kage the Warrior made an announcement, which actually does affect the next thing we're talking about for the Salty Sweep predictions. He made an announcement that he will not be in attendance either, I don't think.
Yeah, he's
so.
sick, I think.
Such a shame.
I could definitely have seen Kage in top 48 and perhaps onward after that. So, I mean, in terms of just who is going to place where, it's really, really hard to just anticipate even who's going to take Apex, because last year's winner was Dr. PP.
Yeah.
But then you look at this year, and it's like Cody said, that gap between the people who were considered the top 5 in the world versus 5 through 10 has ever shortened, and it's become so much more attainable to beat those people, and it's become apparent that you can beat those people. So
I think that's important for people's mentality. Like, I think probably I don't really know a timeline, but I'm sure there's a point where somebody would, at a certain point in bracket, and they're like, oh well, here we go, this is where I lose. But now they're like, I can do this.
Yeah. And it's that huge surge of confidence, I think, that's really lessening the gap, not only between the top 5 and onwards, but even players below that and players of different skill level.
I'm actually looking at our Smash Bros hype thread or whatever. It's a lot of weird crap and stuff, but a few things kind of make a good point. They're kind of pointing out that like Florida, for example, is bringing like a lot of really good players this time, and just like the East Coast in general, and the fact that like they're bringing so many good people that kind of like this East Coast West Coast rivalry is really a lot more.
Yeah.
It's not so one-sided, and there's definitely a lot of talent growing in a lot of different places.
Oh yeah, agreed. I think I don't know. I mean, with Apex on the horizon tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm very excited to just watch it all. I think.
See you then.
Skipping everything to watch it.
Mango
I
has
haven't got
9
class tomorrow. I'll be watching it.
Mango has 9 a.m. pools, so again.
Man, looks like we're getting up early, boys.
I mean, I'm gonna try to get up then. Like, I'll probably roll out of bed, just turn my monitor towards my way, but because I want to 12 hours of Melee. That's just crazy.
Even like watching it, I think is just mentally exhausting. You're just sitting there like, I would sit there falling asleep at my desk doing that sort of thing, like even when I'm not paying attention to it.
I think another hard thing, like the first tournament I attended here, or no, it was back in Maryland. The first tournament I really attended, like the first tournament I was really at, instead of just stopping by, I was there for probably 5 hours, and I left. I was like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I was like, I didn't really do anything. I kind of just played video games, but it takes it out of you.
Yeah, definitely.
And I can't even imagine what they're going through. And the casters and Gamer and...
Oh, yeah. It
It's
is.
just the fact that there's so many people there. There was the again, like our Smash Bros had the like, don't forget to bring deodorant thread. Like,
Oh my god, please don't forget that.
It's a exhausting process for all people on all ends of it. It's like you have 12 plus hours of meeting people, playing friendlies, stressing yourself out about moving up in tournament, 12 hours of commentating each and every match you see, just talking for that long, 12 hours of organizing a stream and making sure everything runs smoothly.
Yeah.
It's all just a mentally draining process.
I guarantee you the Apex team, especially after all the drama they had to go through, was just losing their mind at one point.
Oh yeah,
they're probably losing
probably
their
at
mind
multiple
now.
points. Yeah,
Probably right now because they have less than 12 hours.
yeah.
And like,
Oh my god.
things.
And you know,
Rest in
they really
peace,
do have a
Vanity.
wonderful team. They have a wonderful team of people
Yeah.
working
Oh, I'm sure.
So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Apex 2015 team.
You guys are something special. You'll probably never hear this, but thank God for you.
Wishing you guys best of luck tomorrow, but we're going to move on from our 2015 analysis and go into a little bit more fun stuff to close out this stream, and that is our Salty Sweet predictions. Salty Sweet has been announced for this Apex. If you guys don't know what Salty Sweet is, look up Apex Salty Sweet on YouTube, and you're actually going to find probably, I think, 3 or 4 now really well-crafted hype videos from Papa Paint. So definitely check out his content. It's amazing.
Yeah, those videos are pretty
And
hype.
they're all sponsored through Video Game Boot Camp, so just look at that. And then they had Salty Sweet last year. It was really, really exciting to watch. It's just been kind of almost archaic and just symbolic matches of people. You had AMSA versus DJ Nintendo, Battle of Dinosaurs. The $1,000 money match ever faded between Tion and Tafo. What else was there? You had the Fox Dittos. You had whatever else going on, and it's awesome to watch because it's totally off the grid. It's completely uncensored, and it's literally just Apex after hours, and that's what makes it really exciting to watch.
It's a bunch of really high fun matches.
I know one thing. I don't know if you guys have comments on this. I think I was reading that they're actually, it's still the same kind of thing, but they're moving it from like where it used to be kind of onto the actual stage to kind of be a premiere event. And I know a lot of people were actually upset about that because they really like usually the Salty Sweet is like all these people in front of a TV and just like a sea of people behind them that you could see from the camera and you could see them yelling at each other, and people were really worried people were worried that it was like professionalizing the Salty Sweet. And so I think Gamer made some comments about that it's like, don't worry guys, it's gonna be the same. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that or anything at all. Just thought I'd bring it up.
I mean, we're a grassroots community. I see where people are coming from because we are a grassroots community. Like when you think about a hype set, you think about you and some other dude on a small TV and a bunch of people standing behind you cheering for or against you, not like on a grand stage. So I can understand that, but we're especially at this point, we're evolving. Like, we need to make the steps to make ourselves look more serious, and that doesn't necessarily mean putting on a grand stage, but especially when it comes to the gamer who does so much work, it should be his call.
Yeah. I think making steps towards the quote we're esports is paramount for us, and us as an over-encompassing word for Smash as a whole, because even now you look at Smash 4 with Nintendo supporting Smash 4, supporting the competitive scene, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just as a business maneuver to get more people buying their product, we have their support. So it's really important we take advantage of it now. And if that means becoming more professional in it, then so be it, I think. At the same time, while I'd love to have what I would love for the 2015 Smash to harken back towards the days of Homemade Waffles commentating with Phil, and all it was just people shit talking and cursing at each other for 8 minutes on a set. And I would eat that up. I think that'd be amazing. But at the same time, I really like the professional side that Smash has to offer, and that it has shown that it can offer in recent years. And I think that if we continue to expand on that, we will become esports if we haven't already. And having the Salty Sweet like that will become this yearly, I guess, tradition that people will be looking forward to as kind of the paramount of esports for Smash.
There's also a stream in California. It's called The Foundry, and they do what they did in the old days. Like, it's Homemade Waffles and a bunch of Cali guys just shit talking and cursing, doing whatever, and like they let you know that that's what it's gonna be, which I think is fine. But
Smash still has its grassroots roots, because they wait with all the how the local scenes are nowadays. It's still just. It's the good old days everywhere else but majors.
Right.
That's kind of how I see it. So.
Yeah, in my own personal opinion, I think if it's going to expand, we have to take steps away from how it used to be, and that's if we want to expand. And I think the general consensus for everyone in the Smash community is we do, because it's literally a started from the bottom, now we're here aspect, in the sense that we were playing sets with our neighbors before we even knew what competitive Smash was, and now we look at things even 3 years ago, and we're on the grand stage for Evo, the biggest fighting game tournament in the country. So that's it's large steps, but taken in small increments, I think, and that's what makes this community really great. Is because we basically did all this on our own. And we got to where we were today because of the way in which we evolved. So we started with all this shit talk, trash talking things, and we've realized this is what we need to do to expand, and I think we're making steps towards that.
I'm just following my plan. Well, even with the Evo thing, do you know the moment that I got emotional at? Was at E3, at the Invitational tournament, seeing all these Smash fans screaming.
Oh yeah.
Having Hungry Bucks, PB, Toad, D1, Frog all walk out on the stage with Sakurai.
Oh yeah,
that blew me away.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is having Nintendo support in whatever regard we have it in is huge. It's totally amazing for us to have Nintendo to have the competitive scenes back. If it's even just for Smash 4, that's still good enough because it's gonna trickle down to every other game that we play competitively.
I actually feel like they have a lot of support. I think like just with Smash 4 and Melee both being
yeah, definitely.
It's actually behind Melee and Smash 4.
Right. Anyway, minor / significant sidetrack there, but we're gonna get into the Salty Sweet predictions now. I'll look at the list of what I have right now. Correct me if any of these are inaccurate, but for now I have Ken vs PC, Leffen vs Chillin' Dude, Kage vs Bizarro Flame, Axe vs Silent Wolf, Callball vs Westballs, Tafo vs Slox, UMass Boston vs Columbia. And I don't know if I'm missing any.
I just saw that. I don't know if it's true, but I mean, it looks legit. I don't know. Just bit.
For who?
I put it in. I Skyped you the page. It says.
Oh yeah,
Is that legit? Is that what he's doing?
It is.
Okay.
He had posted on his Facebook page that he had.
Okay, I didn't know. If it
Okay,
was...
so
Yeah,
according to this,
Eichelman is a candidate for Florida.
Yeah.
AIT again. Behind HK. He's replacing Kage in the Kage Bizarre.
I'm surprised. In terms of a replacement for Kage, I feel like does Rock Croc still play?
I don't think he's going.
Yeah, he was just Rock.
I feel like he would have been a good replacement if he was actually in attendance. Yeah. But okay, so then correction would be just Eichelman and replace for Kage. And I don't think I missed anything there, but I guess we could just go through the list real quick, have our thoughts about each of it, and then we'll just give each of our predictions. But I'll start off with, of course, the oldest matchup of all time, Ken versus PC Chris. That I think is going to be really hype. It's going to be like, I haven't seen PC play since I guess the old school days. So in my mind, the way I envisioned this was just like two really old school players like playing really weird styles at each other. And it's just going to be so like awesome because it's so out of the ordinary in terms of what the norm is for competitive Smash right now.
I feel like
Hops
PC
from
did
Fox.
a lot of Falco. I really feel like it did. And I think Ken is going to win. But I think PC knows about Ken.
Right. I think an important thing, I don't know if Ken is going or PC is going to be going Fox or Falco for this one. Because I think he's a Fox main now.
Yeah, I watched Chillin's interview with him, and he says like as much as he would love to be able to pull out the Falco and entertain people, he knows his Fox is way better right now.
Okay. So I guess we can expect the Fox Marth matchup for that. I guess in terms of my opinion, I would tip the scales slightly in Ken's favor for this matchup. Yeah. I would love to see PC Chris just pull out this Fox out of nowhere and just start doing it, but I haven't seen any gameplay from him in a while, so it makes me worry about it. But I think it's going to be a good set nonetheless. But in my opinion, I'm going to give it to Ken.
Yes.
Is that? I'm guessing that's a Ken around the board sort of deal. All right, good enough. Okay, moving on. We'll see. I guess we'll go from one matchup to the next. Leffen versus Chillin' Dude. This will be a Venom Spitter.
I'm
Okay.
I know,
gonna have to.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it was announced today that Frog and D1 commentating that set.
Oh,
Really?
Oh no.
stop. Go ahead.
They announced that Frog and D1 are commentating Leffen versus Chillin'.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Because Frog wants to get back into practice because he's going to Evo. He's commentating at Evo this summer.
That's gonna be unreal.
Yeah.
And I think okay, so from what that little poster for Chillin' Dude and Leffen was, it was apparently a $1,000 money match too. Am I mistaken with that? Or I don't know if that's real.
I think it's 100.
Okay, I saw something with a lot of zeros, and I was like, damn. And then there was also like the pseudo like winner gets to play that color fox
Yeah.
sort of deal.
Yeah, the player doesn't. It's what it is. It's the other player just has to choose a different color.
Yeah.
Which I think that's more brutal than losing.
Oh yeah,
Because
I would rather pay like $20,000 than lose my LA Lakers Mario color. Like,
especially with Chillin' Dude. He's been playing that color since 2002.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I saw one suggestion was they should play the hat pack so they can both use the same color fonts when they play.
Oh, that'll be so awkward. Is it like winner gets to keep the like winner of
Yeah.
game one plays the color?
Yeah, I don't
They
know.
rock paper scissors for the color and then they ban like.
That's I'm genuine. I think they should both stay away from the color.
Whoever gets to use it after. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, in terms of this set, I think it's in terms if it's a best of 5. Is it best of 5 or first to 5?
That's first to 5.
I think the set will probably go like 5-2 in favor of Leffen.
For me, like I don't know. The thing is, I have met Chillin', I played him, so I'm rooting for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's either gonna be close or Leffen is just gonna
Yeah.
destroy him. Because the one thing that Chillin' kept saying is like, "Oh, Leffen sucks to Fox Dittos," but in an interview, Leffen was like, "Oh, really? Look at my match." Like Leffen even said, "Yeah, I did suck at them, but now I'm a lot better at them." And he gave us all these lists of good Fox players he's
Right.
beaten in the past few months, and I mean, he's right. Like he definitely got better. But what I would love to see is a close set, not just a blowout.
Yeah, I would love to see that as well. I think Chillin's a really good player, but the way he styles his Fox against a player like Leffen isn't going to bode well for him in a matchup like that.
I think it's also you got to keep in mind that it's like is Salty Sweet Saturday or Friday?
I don't know that actually.
I can check that real quick.
Okay, cool. Because I was gonna, it might if it's Saturday, it might not be as big of a deal. But I mean, like, if Leffen's in top 8 or something like that, like you don't want to bring everything out in the Salty Suite.
Right.
And like there's been instances before where people have been like, I beat that guy, like you beat him in the Salty Suite, oh that's the better player, and then they get stomped when they face each other in bracket.
Right, yeah.
So it really counts.
Even
So,
then.
I mean, like, is Leffen gonna go all out against Chillin' Dude? Is Chillin' gonna go all out? Like, is how much of a playing factor is that?
Yeah.
It's hard to
I don't
say.
think Leffen's taking it seriously.
Yeah,
Saturday
and
at 9.
that's another thing. I mean, he might be taking it seriously, but like he probably doesn't want to lose.
Right. I think it goes without saying for all of the matches in the Salty Suite, I mean, especially if they're people anticipated to get top 16 or higher. I mean, you already see there's Leffen, Axe, Silent Wolf, Caldwell, Westballs. I mean, all these players, it's like, do you want to reveal anything you've been practicing this whole time or any tricks you have up your sleeve at a thing that is almost entirely just for honor, I guess? Or do you want to save that for the tournament?
You like break out the style you've been working on and break out the actual like how to win stuff in bracket.
Right.
I mean,
It's Saturday at 9, by the way. 9
yeah.
p.m.
Okay, Saturday. So it is. So then by that point we'll have a top 8, right?
I believe so. I believe Sunday's
I
actually
need to
the
check
top
it.
8.
I
Um,
mean, like,
yes,
you
it
could
is,
look at
'cause-
it like that way, because you could say, like, if Leffen makes top 8 and Chillin' Dude doesn't, Chillin' Dude has no reason to just not go all out.
Yeah.
Top 8 is at 9 p.m. on Sunday, so almost 24 hours later.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, what I meant is like, you know, Leffen, like Walter doesn't want to. You don't want to reveal all that stuff if he's still got to play the next day. But if Chillin doesn't have to play the next day, you know, he can go as hard as he needs to go.
Right.
So.
I
Um,
think
Is Left
I
in
think
on
there was
Smash 4 as well?
that I don't know.
who?
That could be a big factor.
I'll control F him
I
real
know
quick.
he's in an Ultimate Fighter game, one of them. Here, I'll look it up because I saw his name.
Leffen is in Smash 4 right now. He's seeded first in his pool. He's also in Melee doubles, which I guess is to be expected. And then naturally Melee singles.
Yeah, that might be another factor to consider. Is Chillin in Smash 4 too, or
I don't think so, but I don't know.
Liquid Chillin. Let's see. He's in Melee and he actually is. He's in a different pool for Wii U, but he actually has Bladewise in his pool for Wii U, which could be interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, that's another additional factor to consider. I think with all that, hopefully it's a good Fox Ditto. I mean, it is a Fox Ditto, so it can go either way when push comes to shove. But in my firm opinion, I think Leffen has this one. And I mean, he's on my fantasy team, so I have to like be like kind of indifferent towards him.
I love Chillin. I would love to see Chillin take it, but at this point, Leffen has just had such a strong showing. But then
Right.
again, his consistency has always been up there. And I mean, I haven't been shows of Leffen since like Leffen, you know, we had like really close to that, but just I don't know where he was. Like every set that he plays there against one player.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so moving forward, so now we have the replacement for Kage is Eichelman versus Bizarro Flame, the Ganon Ditto. How this was, I guess, presented in the hype video for this from Papa Paint was the fundamentals versus like Flare sort of deal. I mean, even when it was Kage versus Biz, I think I give it to Biz. I think he's just a lot more a lot more exciting player to watch. I mean, Kage would get right to the point and take the stock of the edge. You'd see Bizarro Flame just straight up not even edge guard because he could do like 27 moonwalks into like a wave landed up tilt or something like that. And that's gonna for a setting like the Salty Suite, I think in that specific setting, that's what gives Bizarro Flame the edge. Because he does all that flare, like fancy stuff and all that stuff, and it makes people go crazy. It fuels his momentum, and then it pushes him forward in that set.
Definitely.
So I think it's specific to the Salty Suite setting, whether it's Eichelman or Kage, I would give it to Bizarro Flame.
I'm not going to count Eichelman out. He's got a really, really good Ganon that I don't think is, you know, as they should. Watching these sets, because I've played Yule. I've played, you know, I watched him take a game off of MG.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I played him a little bit in Smash 4. That's about all that I actually played it. And he's really good at what he does. He's a very small player. He's very calculated in what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he studies these matchups. His heart is very much in the game.
Right.
So whether he's going to beat us or not, I'm not sure. But I'm not gonna count him out. He can very well do it.
Right.
Yuri is one of those players that nobody knows about, but is top 100 team.
Gotcha.
So it's something to watch out for. Plus, he beat Sam and bracket.
Oh yeah.
To get to the game, to the game for the MGK, which is an easy game against Sheik. So.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna skip around the list a little bit just so we can devote more time towards the end to, I guess, bigger discussions. But I'll skip right now to the Season 2 Grand Final set of the Melee games sponsored by Matt.Zeb. UMass Boston versus Columbia. I sincerely don't know anything about those players in this. I remember watching the hype video for this, and it went something like, UMass Boston, quote, I think we have a 50-50 shot in this, end quote. And then Columbia, quote, this is looking pretty free, end quote. So I mean, just going off that, I think Colombia has the confidence, and I'm gonna put the ball in their court for that one.
Who do we know what players on what team? Because I know UMass has KDJ.
Really,
Yes,
that changes things. I don't know
Yeah.
actually.
because I saw because when I saw UMass, I knew he went to or KDJ went there in the first place. I was like, oh no, for Columbia, but I don't know Columbia's team at all. I don't know who's on it. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think if someone wants to try to pull that up while we discuss it, that'd be cool. But I mean, for the most part, I think for something like this, it's gonna just be like just exciting to watch these players go at it.
Yeah.
And then it's more so just a preference round instead of who you sincerely think is going to win, because it's a crew battle, and it's hard to really quantify who's going to win a crew battle just based off of one player.
I mean, they should be happy South Carolina wasn't in that. Otherwise, we already know. So.
Oh God.
No comment.
All right. Moving on. I don't know if this is a confirmed Salty Sweet match, but I have written down here Tafikants versus Slox.
I haven't heard anything about that.
So I don't know if that's 100% confirmed. So I'm gonna brush that one aside for now. Move on to the Cobalt versus West Balls, the Fox Falco matchup.
That was originally supposed to be Hacks versus West Balls, but obviously Hacks destroyed his hands playing Fox. Now it's Cobalt. I think there's like a little mini beef between them, which kind of makes it hype, but it's not like a rivalry. But at the same time, they're both in the top 10. And they're Spaceys, so
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy. Especially, I love watching Cobalt play. He just does all the craziest stuff.
Oh yeah.
I like watching West Balls too. So.
I like watching both of them.
Both
Yeah,
both of them
both of them.
extremely like technically proficient players. I'm just, as soon as you said I love watching Kobo play, I just thought of the Firefox into up smash combo he did.
Yeah, that was
Um,
crazy.
But a lot of like really interesting flair coming from both those players. Westball is of course inventing his own style of pressure on Shield, which was just like unreal when that originally came out. I guess if we want to go around the horn with this one, it's a bit of a bigger match for the Salty Sweet. But I mean, in my personal opinion, for one, Cobal's on my team again, so I have to have that bias. But for the second reason being, Cobal, I think, has just like the Fox. I mean, Fox Falco in its rarest form, I guess, is essentially a 50-50 in my opinion. Maybe slightly in favor to Falco because he has the auto combos a little bit, but and I think as soon as he gets off stage, it's like a 80-20 in Fox's favor. So like looking at just that and the way Cobal is just fundamentally strong, I would give this to Cobal. I can't really predict a set count off of this. I think it's just going to be a very, very close game because Westballs has gotten better at just his fundamentals as well. At first, just being a really, really technically sound player, but he's gotten a lot better at just, I guess, like analyzing everything that's going on, not only with himself but with his opponent.
West Balls is going to be understandable. I feel like whatever West Balls is he's near unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a good player, but when he gets inside his own head, he makes really stupid mistakes. He was in the zone, playing against Mango and MLG. When he got one ninth place.
Right.
Yeah, so it's and then for like that where was that? I can't remember where, but he was playing Fly. And it was an absurdly close set. He dared on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you completely. I'm gonna agree with you completely on that because I was thinking about that before I was gonna talk. Like, Cobalt, I've never seen him upset ever in any set. Like when he loses, he smiles and shakes her hand. Westball is very much the opposite. Like he let things get to him, and Cobalt, he doesn't. Like he just doesn't. So, and it's the Salty Suite where there's gonna be a lot of shit talking and a lot of hype, and there's gonna be a lot of pressure. Speaking of pressure, but I don't know. But if you take away mentality, I don't know. I don't know who's going to take this. I want to say Cobalt because I like him more and I love watching him. But I also like watching Westballs, and Westballs is just amazing in his own way. It's just I don't know. This is a 50-50 matchup in my opinion. Maybe going in Westball's manner, but that's all my input to it.
Right.
If he's not on his game, he's not going to win. next to it.
Mm-hmm. It's, I don't know. Off the record, Cobalt has the like sweetest pop-offs I've ever seen. They are just an overwhelming amount of joy and cheerfulness coming from one individual.
Yeah.
But I love it. And then we'll move on to the last one, which is Axe versus Silent Wolf, the ever-faded runback. Silent Wolf's great, I think.
He is great. He's
I-
a great player.
I think he was too great to get 4-stocked by Axe in 56 seconds. So I would say it's going to be a closer set, and I think if I were in Silent Wolf's shoes and my Salty Sweet match were being presented as, will he get 4-stocked again this time, I would be practicing my ass off for the Pikachu matchup, and even for the Falco matchup if he decides to pull that out. But I would just be like, oh fuck no, this isn't happening again. Like, no way.
I don't think he's going to get forced, but I don't think he's going to.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think Axe will still take this set, but I don't think it will be as a dominant performance as it was, which made this Salty Sweet set happen.
I think it's similar to Leffen versus Chill in the sense that I honestly don't think Axe cares in the sense that if he loses, he's going to be upset.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the same situation. Axe knows he's in the running for the championship for first place. And so maybe he's in that same mindset.
Yeah.
Maybe he's still in that same mindset of, I don't want to show off everything I'm doing, like, and all that. Maybe I think for Silent Wolf it's redemption, but for Axe it's more like, all right, well, I'll just prove myself again. And I'm definitely in favor of Axe taking this. I also personally think Silent Wolf is overrated, but that's me.
Evo was like the first time in forever he got it.
He is a good player. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's overrated in terms of overall skill and consistency. Consistency is the biggest thing.
Right. Yeah, and that opens up a whole new can of worms. I guess we've discussed this very briefly before, but you look at a set like the Salty Sweet from a perspective like Axe, and it's saying, okay, well, why do I really care about like a $50 money match per se, like you said? But why would I really care about this when I'm in top 8 and I'm already in contention to get however much? But at the same time, you say he loses the set because he's more invested in top 8. How would that affect a top 8 player mentally at that point? So I think there's a trade-off with that where you don't want to care as much in it because you want to invest all of your efforts into the top 8 for this regional or national, but at the same time you want to care enough so that you still win and you start building that momentum early.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I got nothing left, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think we hit pretty much everything with that, and that was really good. Lastly, we're just going to move on and just reiterate #AskNewMeta to you guys. As always, if you guys have any questions for the stream that we can discuss in the next one, if you want to indirectly contact us not through the Twitch feed, go ahead and tweet at @NewMetaTweets with the #AskNewMeta, and we will reply back with anything we have come the next episode, and yeah, we'll talk about it. If not, as I've already said, you're wrong. And hopefully we get some input from you guys. If not through the stream chat, then through Twitter or any other form of social media. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I thank you guys for watching with us. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. And I guess best of luck. Prayers and blessings, again, going to those of you on the Apex 2015 team. Really good stuff.
Themselves.
Yeah, and looking forward to some hype sets coming in the next weekend. But that's going to be it for the meta tonight, guys. And this is going to be New Meta Entertainment signing off. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.